Okay, so we are back and we are here with Paige Fraser from a Chicagoan based in New York to a New Yorker based in Chicago. That was a nice transition too that didn't occur to me until that moment. Paige, I really just want to start by welcoming you and ask you, since you are a New Yorker, how did you end up in this fine city?
Yes, so I was dancing in Ailey too for 2 years, and I heard about a company called Visceral, and I was like, okay, I need a job. I'm going to send my stuff in. I know nothing about Chicago except for Hubbard Street. And I just crossed my fingers, said a prayer, and got hired. We had a Skype interview, me and Nick Papillo, the founder of Visceral, sent some videos, and here I was moving to Chicago in August of 2013 to dance with Visceral as a founding dancer of the company. And I stayed there for 6 seasons, which again, as dancers, we try to plan our life. We try to, I'm staying here for 2 years and then I'm doing this and then I'm doing that. And that's just not what happened. I actually stayed much longer and I'm still in Chicago to this day.
And what made Visceral such a good fit for you in 2013?
I think for me, it was just the fact that it was a new company and the idea of being part of the foundation of that and helping to build a company. It was just like, I don't know if I'll get that opportunity again, so why not try? And I always say moving here was a leap of faith for me in that way. And Chicago has just embraced me in such a beautiful way. Being at Visceral, I learned so many different styles in terms of like working with contemporary choreographers and transitioning from more of a modern style, balletic style to, working with choreographers like Sidra Bell and Monica Cervantes and like getting to dance in socks, which was really new for me. And like learning how to be grounded in a different way. It really just pushed me as a dancer and as an artist. And I didn't feel the pressure like I did when I was in New York. I felt like I could just settle. And not in a way of like I'm getting comfortable, but in a way of like I could settle and explore different parts of my artistry without feeling that pressure and like the hustle and bustle of New York City.
Yeah, so how did living here in Chicago and working with Visceral, how did you grow as a dance artist in that time?
I mean, every process was so different. And I always try to be a sponge, even if I wasn't cast in a piece or like whatever was happening, I always tried to learn from the choreographer that was there. And also the dancers in the company were so inspiring. And because we were part of this new thing, we were a family. We had each other, we leaned on each other. And as the years continued, I was able to also freelance and guest with Deeply Rooted, which has also been a home for me here in Chicago. And just being able to tap into my roots and do more modern dance and pieces that are really focused on storytelling and narrative and like sharpening that tool with my artistry. I think all my experiences here in Chicago just kind of molded together and like have made me the artist I am now, and that versatility. And again, I'm so appreciative that I just stepped out on faith and I haven't been back to New York since. So it's really been a beautiful journey for me. And I'm so thankful for all the choreographers I've gotten to work with and all the freelance gigs and just the fun opportunities of even performing in Dance for Life every year. Chicago is just such a beautiful city, and like the dancers here are just so talented and versatile.
Yeah, I agree. You're the co-founder of the Paige Fraser Foundation, which is based in New York. At what point did that come about and why?
Yeah, I had just won a Princess Grace Award and I was home in New York for the holidays, just feeling really reflective and grateful for everything happening in my career. And I spoke with my family about how I wanted to give back and do more for my community, which is the Bronx, New York. And as a scoliosis advocate, I had been sharing my story for many, many years. And my aunt was like, I think we need to develop a foundation. I think it's time for this to happen. And, it was named after me, no pressure. But the foundation, our mission is to basically create a safe space for artists with or without disabilities. And we started with a dance program, but now we've gone into theater, music, visual arts, and wellness, because that was really important for me as a scoliosis advocate to incorporate wellness, mental health, spine care, all those things, and really represent that community so that they feel seen, heard, and welcomed. I think now as we continue on, we want to create more spaces that are safe and inviting for people that are different.
So important, yeah, and just what you're doing in like to raise visibility too is remarkable. It seems like one of the ways you're able to do that is you mentioned, the Princess Grace Award, 25 to Watch Dance Magazine, Intel commercial. How it's visibility on another level, actually. And I'm just curious again, like, living here and working in Chicago, that says that people beyond Chicago are definitely watching and taking notice. How did some of that exposure come about, and how has that affected your career?
Man, I mean, it's definitely things I dreamed of and like prayed over and meditated. And when it actually happened, it was like, oh, wow. And I just, I always try to stay grounded and extremely grateful for those opportunities and how each kind of led to the next. And Intel was just really caught me by surprise because I was in rehearsal one day and agents left a message for me. And before you know it, I was being flown to LA to shoot a commercial that was about my story. And I think in that moment, I realized like how important it was to advocate and how important me sharing my story, it was bigger than me. It wasn't about me. It was really about letting people know they are seen and that they're not alone. And I think from that moment, I've just always carried that with me. And any stage I'm on, even now, before the pandemic, being in The Lion King, and just thinking sometimes like, wow, I shouldn't even be here considering, but it's like, I am here because I've done the work and I deserve to be here. And I hope that someone else with scoliosis knows that they're not limited or restricted by that there's so much they can do. The body is just incredible. And I think dancers, we are just athletes in that way, superheroes. But yeah, all those incredible opportunities just reminded me that I was doing what I was supposed to and that I was where I was supposed to be, which was here in Chicago.
And I think I'm sure that there are a lot of young people out there looking at you as a superhero and seeing you as an inspiration. And one of the things that we do at CDHP is try to sort of like tease out those lineages and histories of inspiration. Can you tell me about one or two people who have really influenced you and shaped the way that you work as a dance artist?
I definitely have to thank Harriet Ross. I remember Nick created a solo for me and Harriet came in to coach the solo. It's called My Realm. And like those experiences with her in the studio were just so important. And then also working with her and being coached by her for Dance for Life with Randy Duncan, and just how small the world is. Like she's best friends with Sylvia Waters, who was my director in Ailey 2. So it was just like one of those moments where I still felt like I had that bit of New York here in Chicago and that love and support from someone, who also danced in New York. So I definitely thank you so much, Harriet Ross and Randy Duncan, and also my family at Deeply Rooted for always giving me an opportunity. I'm that crazy dancer. It's like during winter break, I want to keep dancing and I want to keep performing. So them giving me the opportunity to continue to develop my artistry and, you know, go to IABD and to New York to perform was really, really special to me.
Yeah, tell me about going to IABD and performing.
Oh man, that was incredible. I was also at a period in my career where I was like ready to do some new things. And I remember IABD, I think that was like one of my last concert dance performances. And it just was so beautiful to be in a space with dancers, young dancers of color and their eagerness, and then to share the stage with dancers in Ailey and Ronald K. Brown and Dallas Black. You know, it was just so much energy in the wings. You know, you have to kind of like stay focused on what you're about to do, but you want to watch like the other companies perform. And I just love what they're doing, creating that, again, a space and allowing dancers to be seen and to audition for summer intensive. So IABD was really, really special in that way.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. And I do want to say IABD stands for International Association of Blacks in Dance, which I try to mind when we use acronyms. I'm hoping to spread the information there too. So you're here in Chicago.
I am.
What are you working on now and in the future?
Well, right now with COVID, everything's shut down. So praying we can get back to work and I can continue on tour with Lion King. I am right now getting my master's in arts management and really working with my family to develop programs and develop our year, maneuvering with COVID and taking things more into the virtual space. And again, we're expanding our programs this year. And in June, we will probably be sharing another scoliosis film. For those that don't know, last year I shared Bent But Not Broken, and it highlighted 3 dancers with scoliosis, and it really took off further than I thought it would. It caught the eye of Martha Hunt, so that was really cool. And again, just seeing how many people responded to that, which was like, okay, this is needed, this is necessary. And yeah, I think we're just going to continue to see how we can continue to offer to our community. And now that we're virtual, we're reaching more people. And we have a program called Spine Series, which is a virtual scoliosis workshop, Q&A, with people who are trained in that. And it was really beautiful. 80 people showed up on Zoom within the month. So yeah, just continuing to one foot in front of the other and seeing how we can give back and, give back to our community. So.
Totally. Well, thank you so much for sharing all these thoughts, for reminding me to sit up straighter, which I'm finding doing right now.
I know, it's literally part of me every minute of the day.
Yeah, it's been so great to talk with you, Paige. I'm sure that we've been putting links to the foundation and Bent Not Broken in the chat. And yes, hopefully we can continue this conversation very soon.
Yes, thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
It was a pleasure. See you soon.
Bye.